I'm falling to pieces. What would I do without your small mouth drawing me in?
Shawn Mendes was a young boy from Canada who got famous after putting videos of himself singing and playing guitar online. Almost overnight, he became a global superstar, getting signed by a record label, creating chart-topping hits, and selling out arenas. But fame has its drawbacks, and life came at Shawn fast. In 2022, he announced he was canceling his world tour due to poor mental health. 1 year later, in 2023, he's seen with a woman in LA doing bizarre breathing techniques and rituals in the woods. That woman is Charlie Travers, and she soon moved into Shawn's mansion. This wouldn't be a big deal, except that it's alleged Charlie has ties to what some call a cult, the modern mystery school. Founded by a man named Gudni Gudnason who claims to be a descendant of Thor, he fled his homeland of Iceland after his many scandals came to light. He then landed in Utah. He started a business as a bodyguard, and when that didn't work out, he sold magical potions on the internet before conjuring a story of an alien abduction, thus leading him to create a school of enlightenment, complete with crystals, wands, so-called energy healing, and a pyramid scheme. That worked, and now he has students around the world and lives the life of a guru. This is a story of witchcraft, wizardry, and martial arts. Sort of. It's a story of scandal with people who look a little too happy, and a story of ex-members who claim to have been buried alive and worse. This is a look at the events leading up to Shawn Mendes' canceled tour, his journey from atheist to spiritualism, and his alleged association with the dark world of the modern mystery school. After hearing all about descendants of Thor, witchcraft, and wizardry, you might need something to help you unwind. That's where today's sponsor comes in, Twisted Tangle. After a long day of writing scripts, I like to take my mind off things with a relaxing puzzle game. Twisted Tangle is a unique puzzle game that allows me to immerse myself in a 3D knot-solving game that challenges my mind while keeping me entertained. It allows players to unveil the secrets of decoding near-impossible knots with precision in pin manipulation. You can even confront boss levels and prove yourself among the chosen few who master the hard and epic stages. It's free to download and can be played without Wi-Fi, making it perfect for gaming on the go. One thing I personally like is that you can even change the skin, shape, and background of the tangles while playing. Download now and test your skills by unraveling the challenge, becoming a master, and conquering Twisted Tangle's intricate puzzles. With over 1,000 unique levels and new levels coming out regularly, Twisted Tangle is enjoyed by a large audience with over 140,000 ratings, earning a 4.6 in the App Store. Download Twisted Tangle now using the link in the description box below this video or the QR code. Thank you to Twisted Tangle for sponsoring this video. Shawn Peter Raoul Mendes was born on August 8, 1998 in Pickering, Ontario, Canada, to his Portuguese father Manuel and his English mother Karen. 5 years later, his younger sister Aaliyah was born. Shawn's father owned his own company selling bar supplies to local bars and nightclubs, and his mother worked as a real estate agent. While multiple reports have claimed he was raised in a Christian family, Shawn said he was an atheist until recently, but more on that later. As a child, Shawn enjoyed playing ice hockey and soccer, as well as being a member of the school glee club. But what stood out above all else was his passion and talent for music. From a young age, Shawn seemed to have a natural talent for rhythm and melody. As a child, he taught himself to play guitar by watching YouTube tutorials. Every day after school from 4 to 8 p.m., he sang and practiced guitar. When Shawn was 15 years old, he began uploading clips of himself covering popular songs to Vine. Vine was a video sharing app that launched in 2012. Users could upload 6-second videos to the platform, and it took off in a big way before its demise in 2016. Shawn was there to ride the initial Vine wave, noticing that while most videos were of people cooking or dancing or just talking, he hadn't seen anyone upload a simple song. So in August of 2013, he uploaded his first cover, Justin Bieber's song, As Long As You Love Me.
As long as you love me.
The next morning, he woke up to find on Vine his video had over 10,000 likes, and he began quickly gaining followers. His talent soon captured the attention of millions, and he frequently went viral.
When it's dark in the cold December, but I got you to keep me warm. I feel it in my bones, enough to make my system blow. Only need the light when it's burning low, only miss the sun when it starts to snow. I'm staring at the bottom of your glass, hoping one day you'll make a dream last.
Within less than a year on Vine, Shawn landed a record deal with Island Records in 2014. By that point, he was already the third most followed musician on Vine. His first single, Life of the Party, debuted at number 24 on the US Billboard Hot 100, making him the youngest artist to ever achieve a top 25 debut. Since then, Shawn has released several hit singles and albums which have solidified his status as a global pop star. These include Stitches, Treat You Better, Mercy, and There's Nothing Holding Me Back, as well as collaborations like Senorita with Camila Cabello. There have been no shortages of achievements for Shawn Mendes. He won the Webstar Music Teen Choice Award in 2014, was named as one of Time magazine's most influential teens 2 years in a row, and has received multiple MTV awards. He also got to open for Taylor Swift on her 1989 World Tour. Due to his stardom, he signed modeling contracts with Emporio Armani, Calvin Klein, and more recently he released a collection with Tommy Hilfiger. Amidst all of Shawn's success, he has also experienced the typical challenges that come with such a high-profile career. In 2019, he began dating Camila Cabello of Fifth Harmony fame. When they met, Camila was a superstar in her own right after finding success as a solo artist. Shawn and Camila bonded over a shared love of music and quickly became one of the music industry's most talked about couples. In a Netflix special about Shawn's Wonder Tour, he gushed about Camila being his muse and the source of inspiration for all of his music, saying, quote, "My song comes on the radio or something and I'm like, everything's about you. They've always been about you." She goes, "What do you mean? Like, they're all about you, like every song I've ever wrote." End quote. At the 2019 MTV VMAs, they put on a sensual performance of their hit single, and a few months later, they moved in together in Miami to self-isolate during the early stages of the pandemic. But the highs of superstardom are often followed by equally low lows. Towards the end of 2021, Shawn began to experience mental health issues, which he initially kept private. Then, in November of that year, Camila and Shawn took to their Instagram pages to share that their relationship was over. Once single, Shawn began to share more openly about his struggles. In April of 2022, he posted an open letter on social media where he confessed he was feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated. He went on to say, quote, "I'm afraid that if people know and see the truth, they might think less of me. They might become bored of me. So in those moments of feeling low, I either put on a show or hide. The truth in current form is a 23-year-old who constantly feels like he's either flying or drowning." End quote. Shawn went on to say that he was okay, but wanted to share his truth. This came just a few months after announcing an upcoming world tour, which was due to start in June of 2022. Shawn reassured his fans he was getting the support he needed from his family and professionals and expected to be back on stage, fully ready to perform and connect with his audience for the tour. He expressed gratitude for the understanding and patience of his fans and emphasized the importance of prioritizing his mental health during this period. His vulnerability in sharing what he was going through was met with a wave of support, but almost as soon as Shawn played his first show, he realized he wasn't as ready or recovered as he had hoped to be. After performing 7 shows, Shawn announced he would be delaying his North American show by 3 weeks due to his ongoing mental health struggles. 2 weeks later, he announced that he was canceling the rest of his tour. In a post to his 78 million Instagram followers, he said he had to postpone because he wasn't prepared for the toll that being back on the road would take on him after the pandemic, and that he needed to take personal time he had never taken before to ground himself and come back stronger. But recovery seemed to be more challenging than Shawn expected. At the time of this recording, he has only released one single in the last 2 years. That song, titled "What the Hell Are We Dying For?", was promoted as a charity single about the state of the world today, touching on themes of global unrest and the quest for meaning in turbulent times. Despite the couple separating in 2019, Shawn had been photographed at Camila's side several times in the following years. In April of 2023, just 2 months before his song dropped, they were spotted making out at Coachella, and fans of the pair eagerly awaited news that they were back together again. But just before the single dropped, word got around that they had split for a second time. But controversy sparked again late in 2023 when Shawn was photographed with a new woman on a beach in Malibu. It wasn't so much that Shawn had allegedly found someone new, it was who he found that raised eyebrows. Charlie Travers is a TV host and personality who found reality TV fame on the Big Brother UK series in 2013.
I'm Charlie, I'm from London, and I literally just got to LA recently. I get back to my apartment, or Dom's apartment, and I've been pet sitting, looking after his fish, or attempting to, and I got back in, he was in Vegas for the weekend, and I get back in, and George, his favourite fish, there's 8 fish, but there's one that he particularly loves that he named. And George is sort of floating halfway at the top of the tank. So I'm thinking, oh my God. I'm a Reiki, I did my Reiki 1 in England. So I went up to the tank and I started healing the fish. It didn't work, so I got my hands in the tank, rolled up my sleeves, got in the tank, and I held the fish with both hands and started doing sort of little chant that we do that they know. Namayor Rengekyo. And it didn't work, so I thought I'll watch the other fish for a bit. So anyway, another, I won't go into that one because it makes me look bad. Worse than I already do, pet murderer. So, lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, okay, right. So I actually also, true story, I work for a medium. I work with a medium. I'm the assistant of a psychic medium on a show. And so whenever I go to work, it's me, him, in the car, and obviously 18 dead people. So when I was younger, I did a Ouija board at my boarding school, and I got addicted. So I have 3 diaries back at home in purple highlighter with the question, and in pink highlighter, the answer, so I could keep all the memories of it. And I had a fear for 15 years of sleeping alone, so I used to share a single bed with the lights on, and I couldn't pee on my own, I couldn't shower on my own. It basically ruined my life, genuinely. And I finally got over it by thinking to myself, there's no such thing as spirits, it's all in my head. And of course, there are. So I know that from working with him. So ever since then, recently all my fears have come back again. So
Charlie currently lives in Los Angeles, California, and has most recently appeared on the TV show Hollywood Medium, with Tyler Henry as his assistant. She's released 2 singles of her own, with a combined 151,000 streams on Spotify. But it's not her work history or the 12-year age difference which has ignited debate amongst Shawn's fans. Charlie is allegedly associated with the Modern Mystery School, also known as MMS, which is an organization whose mission, according to their website, is to create peace on this planet by uplifting the hearts and minds of humanity. MMS has labeled themselves as, quote, the Harvard of Metaphysics, and promises a transformational journey that will definitely change your life and that just might change the world. The owner of the Modern Mystery School is a man named Gudni Gunnarsson. Gudni was born in Reykjavik, Iceland in 1958. He entered this world as a twin, but 30 minutes later, his twin died. He claimed that since that moment and for the first 10 years of his life, he pretty much sat still as a child because his soul was not in his body, but in the spirit world, where he claims to have been raised by gods and angels. It was in this so-called spirit world that he learned he was a direct descendant of Thor. While in this spirit world, he was given healing powers and now claims to be a shaman, with secret techniques in martial arts, metaphysics, and magic. Gudni told a Seattle radio show in 2006 that he had been asked if he wanted to go with his brother and leave the physical world behind. He claimed he thought about it for 3 years before realizing he had to share with the world his gifts, saying, quote, "At the age of 13, I realized that what I had learned I needed to share. Basically, I've been in full service my whole life." End quote.
From the mist of time come ancient methods for modern living.
Welcome to the Mystery School. This organization has existed on this planet for thousands of years. We are now finally offering our services and our teachings to the general public after being hidden for so long. We're now available to help and empower. These are ancient methods that have been proven through time, and they have been proven to bring joy and abundance to life. We hope that you try these tools. The Mystery School is not a place of judgment. We're open to all people of all religions and all philosophies. We're here only to empower.
Today, the Modern Mystery School's website claims to hold the energetic keys of the lineage of King Solomon, and that such teachings have been taught teacher to student in an oral tradition for over 3,000 years, and that this knowledge has been shared with, quote, initiates like Leonardo da Vinci, Nikola Tesla, Joan of Arc, William Shakespeare, and Winston Churchill. The MMS website claims to work to bridge the spiritual and physical worlds by anchoring and flowing the energy of abundance. And if you think this sounds ridiculous, many people don't. The Modern Mystery School has chapters in South Africa, Canada, Brazil, Britain, and Japan. But in reality, Gudni Gudnason is a man who left his first 2 wives and a child to play dress-up in the self-help world. He then created a self-help program with a pyramid-type payment structure, something Gudni would know well since he was once affiliated with Amway, one of the biggest, most predatory, and longest-running multi-level marketing companies to date. In his early 20s, Gudni attended a few local martial arts classes, where he met a set of twins who were martial arts experts. They became close, and when the twins received roles in an Icelandic film, they got Gudni a role too. Gudni loved being in front of the camera. He soon left his wife and child and moved to Sweden to live with the twins. Together, they traveled and performed. It was during these events that Gudni became spiritual. He became consumed with the paranormal, the occult, and secret societies. He met his second wife while in Sweden and then promptly left her behind to return to Iceland. But it didn't go so well for him back home. He made national news and had to flee Iceland after it was discovered he was hosting a fight club for children. These children had no prior training or special skills, nor was this some type of karate class. At the time, boxing was illegal in Iceland, so there was mass outrage over what Gudni was doing, and it was during this scandal he was found to have been trying to run from his many debts. He was also outed for lying about being a black belt in karate. In 1995, Gudni fled Iceland and went to the United States, where he landed in Utah. While in Utah, he claimed to be an expert in nearly everything and started a variety of businesses. One was selling so-called magic potions on the internet. Another was for seminars where he would teach you how to protect yourself from a school shooting. Then he began working with Amway. Not long after, he met a psychic who ran her own healing business. Her name was Lori Seacrest, and she became his third wife. Not long after, the couple began telling people that they were driving one night and came across a plasma ship that had crash-landed into a lake. They were then abducted, where they learned about superior technologies aboard the ship. This, along with the knowledge they had acquired from gods and angels for thousands of years, allowed them to, quote, fully activate human DNA for the first time. And thus, the Modern Mystery School curriculum was born. Still in Utah, he and Lori created Rocky Mountain Mystery School in 1997, a school that mainly consisted of meditation and martial arts, and it was available to anyone who could afford it. But trouble began to brew, as it seems to do with Goodney, and his third wife divorced him after exposing his multiple affairs with their students. The couple split the business, and Goodney left the U.S. for Tokyo. The Rocky Mountain Mystery School became the Modern Mystery School. Now on his own, Goodney teaches wizardry, witchcraft, and martial arts. One of his beliefs is that you have never been born, therefore you can never die. And he preaches that finding inner peace will lead to world peace. While in Tokyo, he married his fourth wife and lives the lavish life of a guru. Each of his teachings claim to offer spiritual enlightenment and personal development, but they come at a cost. Depending on the level of initiation and training required, each course or service ranges in price from hundreds to thousands of dollars. His school operates worldwide with a head office in Toronto, with its largest branches in Japan and South Africa. As the school grew in popularity, Goodney expanded his leadership team to include Hideto Nakagomi, who became a co-leader in 2000, and in 2004, Dave Lanyon joined as its third co-leader and CEO, or what they call Chief Enlightenment Officer. Nakagomi and Lanyon became Goodney's right-hand men. Together, they are out to save the world, or so they say. MMS students don't just pay for programs to learn mysticism and martial arts. Goodney took what he learned from his Amway days and put a heavy emphasis on recruitment with his students. While the MMS website talks about a lineage from King Solomon, it fails to mention that the organizational structure is in a pyramid, with ranks called masters and guides. Once a member reaches a certain level of master or guide, they can earn money by training new recruits and leading teachings and initiations, and they can charge whatever price they want and are often encouraged to charge as much as possible for these teachings. A one-on-one initiation costs $5,000. But just like in a pyramid scheme, members who are eligible to make money are often spending as much as they earn, if not more, to continue moving up the pyramid. In order to move up the MMS ranks to become a master or guide, members must pay to undergo training to reach new levels of enlightenment, not dissimilar from the tiers of Scientology, and the connections to the structure and operation of Scientology don't stop there. Scientology promotes the use of auditing, where individuals use an e-meter to explore their spiritual condition. I go over this in detail in my documentary about Tom Cruise, Scientology, and the women left in their wake. But instead of auditing, MMS has its own technique to connect members with their deepest life force. This is known as DNA activation or life activation. In MMS, they believe that everyone has 24 strands of DNA, 12 physical and 12 spiritual. MMS guides use a process similar to Reiki, but with crystal wands rather than hands, to activate 22 of these strands. As of 2021, a life activation cost $2,500. According to Goodney, he was gifted the ability to activate the final 2 strands of DNA when he had an interaction with extraterrestrial beings who he refers to as Nathors. Just like alien beings called Thetans are promoted in Scientology, MMS promotes Nathors. It's alleged that Charlie Travers is a longtime devotee of MMS and is qualified as a guide in their hierarchy. She was first linked to Shawn in November of 2023 on that beach in Malibu, but it's widely reported that she came into Shawn's life around the time of his breakup with Camilla. It's also been alleged she was part of the inner circle who influenced the decision to cancel his world tour in 2022. On that Malibu beach in November of 2023, Shawn and Charlie were spotted stripping down to their underwear for an impromptu ocean swim. When they returned to the dunes, they spent several minutes singing and doing breath work together as the sun went down. At around the same time, paparazzi snapped Shawn and another person performing what appears to be some type of spiritual ritual in the woods. This fueled public speculation of Shawn's involvement with the organization and Charlie's alleged role in facilitating it. In December of 2023, Charlie was spotted moving her personal belongings into Shawn's $4.6 million mansion in LA. And just like Scientology, there are more than a few ex-members who have come out worse off than when they joined MMS. One former member was interviewed by Vice in 2021, and she shared her experience of being with the Modern Mystery School in Japan, where they took her to the base of Mount Fuji. She was left alone for 3 days and nights in the forest with only a bottle of water to sustain her. She first found MMS 8 years before after she went to see a psychic medium, a psychic who was connected to MMS and recruited her. During those years, the victim spent thousands of dollars and countless hours in meditation to work her way up the tiers. Each tier required a new and more extreme demonstration of her commitment to the cause. After 3 days alone in the forest at the base of Mount Fuji, she and her fellow devotees were taken to a clearing where several freshly dug graves were waiting for them. Each person was told to lie down in one of the empty graves while a plastic sheet was laid on top of them and dirt was piled into the hole. Once they were finally relieved of this ritual, they were awarded the new rank of what's called Third Step Ritual Master. This experience, alongside essay allegations the victim made against the school's Chief Enlightenment Officer, Dave Lanyon, deeply traumatized her, and she soon left MMS. It should be noted that Dave Lanyon also goes by the name Ipsissimus Thor, and when asked by Vice about the buried alive ritual, the school claimed, quote, "This is part of a symbolic ceremony to manifest out with the old and in with the new, and only applies to those entrusted with teaching at the school," end quote. According to several ex-students, the monetary investment to reach the second highest rank is close to $20,000. To go all the way to the top of the pyramid requires contributions in the hundreds of thousands. The most senior teachers can demand upwards of $20,000 per session. None of these prices include the cost of course materials like books and crystals, which are sold to members at exponentially inflated costs. On the company's Instagram, Modern Mystery School International, they promote a variety of classes such as Healer's Academy, Viking Magic, Sacred Geometry, Temple, Galactic Activation, and more. Gudni personally teaches a program called School of the Mage, which goes for 10 weekends over the course of 3 years at a cost of more than $80,000. And just when you're thinking, what in the Witcher did I just hear? It goes on. MMS students are encouraged to start their own spiritual enlightenment businesses in order to pay their way through the tiers, and many offer services such as psychic readings, crystal healing work, and even exorcisms. Ex-members claim when they were in MMS, they were given heavy quotas to meet. If they didn't recruit a certain number of people in a specific time, they were belittled and shamed in front of other members, with one ex-member claiming she saw members being yelled at for 3 hours for not meeting their quota of 10 new recruits. In a post on an Irish website dedicated to promoting individual rights to religious freedom, a woman posted about her growing concern around her husband's involvement with MMS. She shared how initially all of the classes he took were related to self-improvement, but over time he began attending courses on fairy magic, Viking, and unicorn magic. After a couple of years and many thousands of dollars spent at the school, the couple had burned through all of their savings and were going into debt to fund further teachings. But worse than that, the husband had become completely detached from his wife. When she raised her concerns, he labeled her as one of the non-believers that MMS warned him about, non-believers who were trying to stop people from reaching their full potential. Other ex-members spoke of an environment of bullying, gaslighting, manipulation, and unpaid labor inside MMS. They claim they were warned not to associate with those who leave or reject its teachings. Some have gone so far as to allege financial and sexual exploitation, which leads to one of the less explored aspects of MMS, its connection to ritualistic sex practices. One ex-member reported that during temple rituals, quote, Gudni would pick 4 to 8 beautiful young women to dress the part, and they would get together and put on provocative clothing and basically dance during temple to raise the sexual energy in the room, end quote. Others said many of the rituals they practiced required intimate touching with fellow students, and that sex was promoted as a tool to be used in the school's fight against evil. Several ex-members claim not all of the sexual interactions were consensual, and female ex-members recalled coercion, sexual harassment, and unwanted sexual advances from MMS teachers. As for Goudny himself, establishing the school has paid off. In videos on his YouTube channel, he claims to live a life of sacrifice and selflessness. In reality, he lives in a Tokyo mansion and owns multiple homes, flies first class on his endless world tours, and drives expensive sports cars. While he calls himself a doctor of metaphysics and his followers call him master, MMS has been labeled a cult by some detractors. Critics argue that its practices are secretive, its teachings are unverifiable, and it exerts undue influence over its members, both financially and psychologically. Others label the school a multi-level marketing scheme where those higher up the chain benefit financially from the work done by those they recruit. More recent reports indicate that students are required to sign NDAs which state they will, quote, always speak in good and positive terms about MMS. The Modern Mystery School denies being a cult, an MLM, or a religious organization and maintains that its teachings are beneficial and rooted in ancient wisdom. Since Shawn's name has been connected with Charlie and the Modern Mystery School, he's been spotted with 2 other guides from the school, but it's important to note Shawn has never confirmed the association. It's clear that Shawn's views on religion have changed over the years. In an interview on the Man Enough podcast from 2021, he stated he thought of himself as an atheist when he was younger, but that he'd recently become more spiritual and now believed there was a God, saying music was the thing that did that for him. In a 2022 Billboard interview, he said he was exploring the Bhakti movement in Hinduism and was spending every Thursday meditating. Shawn said, quote, I think everybody has a moment where they just decide it's time to kind of do something different. Spirituality is a part of my life that is much bigger than I actually even let on, end quote. In a March 2023 interview with Sorted magazine, Shawn stated he had read more than 50 self-help books during the worst time of his mental illness, but what helped the most was connecting with his spirituality. He shared that he was building a relationship with God, and he's been spotted attending services at the Beverly Hills chapter of Church Home alongside fellow Canadian pop star Justin Bieber. While it may be difficult for the average person to believe Shawn Mendes could be in a cult, it's not that surprising when you think about why people fall prey to cults. Cults, whether religious, commercial, political, or about self-improvement, thrive during times of unrest and fear, and in areas or countries where people feel insecure and don't have proper safety nets to fall back on, whether that's family, social, or government support, or a combination thereof. The more vulnerable a person is, the more at risk they are when it comes to a cult. Nobody joins a cult, they're recruited, and famous people are not exempt. As I researched the Modern Mystery School from their website to their YouTube videos to their social media accounts, as well as learning the victims' stories, I was eerily reminded, in my opinion, of Keith Raniere. Keith Raniere was the head of a self-enlightenment organization called NXIVM, or at least that's what he told people. Famous people like Smallville actors Allison Mack and Kristen Crook. Just like the Modern Mystery School, NXIVM promised to teach people how to achieve their limitless potential, thus making the world a better place. But NXIVM and all its self-development courses were a cover for something much more sinister. It operated as a multi-level marketing company, with members recruiting their social networks into the pyramid and making money off them. But NXIVM's pyramid scheme would look like child's play compared to what was really going on behind the scenes, a sinister cult. Cults are often private and appear one way from the outside, while having an entirely different inside world the public is unaware of. A lot of times they use made-up terms or give well-known words new definitions. This can sometimes be considered loaded language. It can be used so that when a cult member is discussing things about the cult around outsiders, the outsiders will not understand what they're meaning or saying. This helps the cult stay secretive. Allison Mack never used the word NXIVM on any of her social media accounts. In fact, her Twitter bio from circa 2016 lists her as a fun-loving storyteller, music lover, and globetrotter. But just as the Modern Mystery School has different programs and courses within its structure and allegedly encourages its students to create whatever programs they want in an effort to recruit, Allison did mention something on her Instagram account called Jeunesse. Allison told her followers that Jeunesse was a NXIVM self-help program for women and even tried to recruit actor Emma Watson. Fortunately, Emma wasn't interested because Jeunesse was really the vehicle for which Allison and Keith Raniere recruited and sex-trafficked young women. At the time of this recording, Allison Mack's LinkedIn account still says she's an executive board member of Jeunesse, but maybe that's because she didn't have time to change it before she and Keith landed in prison. For the full story of how NXIVM came to be and how a successful actress lost it all at the hands of a cult leader, check out my documentary titled The Rise and Fall of Allison Mack. Given Shawn Mendes' recent history of struggling with his mental health and his decision to explore various spiritual paths, we hope he gets the help he needs from qualified professionals and not from a cult. I want to specify again that at the time of this recording, Shawn Mendes' association with the Modern Mystery School are alleged, but I do think MMS is definitely an organization to keep our eyes on. Charlie Travers remains active on social media and will be launching a podcast in 2024 discussing what she calls, quote, personal frequency, truth energy, subconscious mind, and magic, end quote. This is a preview she released on her Instagram.
So how does one keep their field and their vibration, I guess it's all the same thing, frequency, whatever you want to call it, pristine? Because you like to keep yours pristine, as you called it the other day.
Yes.
How do we do that?
Yes. It does take devotion.
Yeah.
You know, and when I say devotion, I mean it takes devotion to your truth, to your highest truth, and living your truth in every given moment. That is a big part of what will keep your field clean. So for example, if someone's asking you to do something and your truth is, I don't really want to do it, but the people pleaser in you is like, okay, but I don't want to upset the person. That's an example of where you might not be choosing to be aligned in devotion to your truth.
Yes.
So as a baseline, being devoted to your truth is the thing that will keep your field very clear.
Yeah.
And the more you do that, the more sensitive you'll become to even the smallest misalignments, as I'm sure you've seen with me many a time.
Oh, yeah.
I like to be very pristine with my field.
It's great. It's hilarious.
And, you know, and then from there, what starts to happen is you become aware of your true frequency.
Shawn Mendes has announced a return to the stage and is set to perform at Rock in Rio in September of 2024. This has been a look at a so-called descendant of Thor, the Modern Mystery School, and Shawn Mendes' connections to an alleged member. Don't forget to download Twisted Tangle now using the link in the description box or the QR code. Thank you to Twisted Tangle for sponsoring this video.